We are just climbing a little bit whilst you were speaking, up to 130 on the Dow points high, which is near the session highs. Some Reddit users are turning their attention to pot stocks, sending shares of Tilray and other cannabis names soaring today. Tilray's up 44%. Joining us now, Sean Stiefel, CEO of Navy Capital. His firm manages approximately $375 million in cannabis-focused strategies. Thanks so much for joining us, Sean. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
So I was reading some of your recent notes saying that Reddit traders are right on the pot thesis, but wrong on the exposures they're getting, particularly of this latest leg higher. Why do you say that?
Because what they're buying today are Canadian licensed producers that have little or no exposure in the United States. What you want to be buying are the actual operators here who are benefiting from all of the federal changes and the state-by-state legalization. We're very excited about the opportunity for U.S. cannabis operators, and every day that goes by, it's going to be harder and harder for Canadian LPs to establish a foothold here.
So how wrong, perhaps, have they got it with their stock exposures, like the Canadian names you mentioned? But wrong enough that you want to short those names, or just focus on others?
I think in this day and age, as everyone knows, it's very dangerous to short. We own a basket of puts on some of these names. But in general, we believe that you want to put your money in U.S. operators and not be buying and chasing these Canadian LPs that are trading at insane valuations.
If those Canadian names do pull back, do you think your U.S. names will suffer as well, providing a good entry opportunity to them? And which are some of the names you're long and you like?
Yeah, so today you saw a little bit of a pullback earlier in the day, and you just saw a wall of money coming into the space. I think what you're seeing, and you saw this with Green Thumb Industries yesterday, you're seeing huge amounts of institutional capital come into cannabis. Compliance officers are more comfortable with it, and we believe companies like Green Thumb, Trulieve, Curaleaf, Cresco Labs, Jushi, which are extremely well positioned in states like Virginia, New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, all of which are starting the legalization process. And these are the companies that are actually going to benefit, as opposed to the Canadian LPs, where you're just buying some hope that somehow, some way, they're going to find a way into the United States.
But is that all you're buying? Because firstly, am I wrong in saying that these names do have some exposure in the US, albeit maybe it's not as big as some of the US names, but they're also part of a trend of growing legalization potentially in places like Europe too?
Yeah, just for perspective, the European market this year will be shocked if it hits 100 million in THC sales. The US market this year could hit 30 billion. So there's not a lot of skin in the game kind of outside of the United States. Yes, some of them, like Canopy, do have exposure in the US, but it's de minimis compared to operators like Green Thumb Industries that will have hundreds of stores in a dozen plus states. That's where we want to play. And those are the companies that are positioned as more and more states legalize.
Sean, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.